Welcome back, familiar to Northside LDN, Caramba. And today we've got Arsenal to offer 90 million euros for Victor Osimhen, which is around what, 85 million pounds, 80 to 85 million pounds for Victor Osimhen. We keep hearing different things surrounding Victor Osimhen. The Arsenal striker merry-go-round continues. We're being linked to absolutely everyone out here. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting the bell notification and all that good stuff. But it looks like Arsenal are still interested of getting Osimhen over the line. Obviously, Osimhen was linked to Chelsea, but it seems that because of the high wages and the release clause, Chelsea look like those talks have gone a bit cold, and it looks like Chelsea are not as interested as in Osimhen as they was a couple of weeks ago. So it still looks like Arsenal are the only team in talks for Victor Osimhen. The reports keep varying all the time. Some reports are saying that Osimhen has got 114 million pound release clause. Others are saying that he's got 130 million, million euros release clause. And now we're hearing 90 million. Arsenal to offer 90 million. Now, if that's the release clause, why are we listen? I know it's negotiation stage. I know, you still got, but at the same time, we just need to get the main striker over the line. There's not an abundance of strikers out there that are world class or top class. There's not an abundance of them. And if we're trying to get our ideal striker, this actually isn't the transfer window to be, undercutting the valuation of the player. If we want the player, we don't want to get in a bidding war, and we don't want to go up against Chelsea's and PSG's and all these other teams, then we need to go and just put the money down. Now, I don't want Victor Osimhen. I don't think Victor Osimhen's good enough. I vou ser sincero, I don't rate this guy. But once again, I'm seeing that this football club don't move serious. There are players, obviously, that you can haggle in terms of money a little bit, and you don't want to pay full price, or you don't want to show your hand of, we've got this much amount of money to spend. But at the same time, we do need to realize that in terms of a striker, Man United need a striker. Tottenham probably want to upgrade from Richarlison, or get somebody that's going to guarantee them 20 plus goals a season. Chelsea need a striker. There's a lot of teams out there that need a striker, and there's a lack of quality in the market, and there's a lack of options. There's not that many options. Let's keep it real. What's sincero? So at the end of the day, if we want Osimhen, we don't need to, if the release clause, to trigger the release clause, if it's 115 million what's been said, or 130 million, just go out there and pay the money. Pay the money if that's the player that you want. I don't want Osimhen, but I want this football club to actually move serious, move with intent, move like they're trying to get the signings over the line, move like they actually want the player. Tô cansado dessa porcaria all the time, dragging our feet. But let's get into the article. Make sure you're liking and subscribing, smashing the bell notification. Arsenal are reportedly preparing a £90 million bid for Napoli striker Victor Osimhen, according to Italian news outlet TuttoJuve.com. However, the Gunners' prospective offer falls significantly short of Napoli's valuation, who are demanding the full activation of Osimhen's 130 million euro release clause. It goes on to say, despite Arsenal being the sole club actively pursuing Osimhen, as confirmed by Di Marzio, the initial offer is expected to be far from satisfying Napoli's expectations. Di Marzio stated, Victor Osimhen, we assume that he will go away. At the moment, there's only Arsenal who are far from the clause. Earlier this season, Arsenal's interest in Osimhen was overshadowed by the reports linking him to Paris Saint-Germain as potential replacement for Kylian Mbappe. However, L'Equipe recently reported that PSG's pursuit of Osimhen cooled down, leaving Arsenal with the clearer path to secure his signature. Let's get this out of the way, right. Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis acknowledged Arsenal's interest in Osimhen back in March, stating some players stay for many years, others are wanted by PSG, Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea. It's difficult to keep these players when they want when they're wanted by rich clubs, I can confirm there's a release clause, a very high one. While Arsenal's anticipated bid is unlikely to trigger the release clause, estimated to be around £113 million, their continued pursuit demonstrates their determination to strengthen their attacking options. Osimhen's impressive performance last season, despite injury setbacks and international commitments, with 17 goals and 4 assists in 32 appearances, has made him a highly sought after target. Now, I just don't see what the point is in going for an Osimhen, who is a risk and a very expensive risk, £130 million release clause. Then the high wages, rumored to be around 250,000 to 300,000 a week. Very expensive mistake if this goes wrong. And look how long it took us to correct the mistake of buying Pepe. Look how long it took us to do that. And he cost what, 72 million pounds? He was on a fraction of those wages, and yet look how long it took us to correct that mistake. And this is the problem. If we get somebody like a Osimhen and he crashes, we are left with an expensive mistake that we cannot shift. And all of a sudden we have to make way. We have to try and fit him into the squad. I just don't see how it works. Play style as well. I'm not really, people keep saying, oh, Arsenal, what about the play style? Certain players, certain strikers don't fit the play style that we have. I'm actually for strikers that don't fit our play style, in the sense of giving us something different. Yeah, he's not going to best link up play Osimhen. Yeah, he's not going to do the number 9 and start doing everything that Jesus does from deep, and he's not going to do all of that. But he's going to want to be running off the last defender into space, into the box, and do the business in the box. I think that offers us something different. We still have a Jesus that can do that whole number 9 thing. If we want more possession and we want more control of the game, you can have a Jesus. You can bring on a Jesus. A Jesus can start, and he can do his thing. He can help us maintain possession if that's what's needed against certain opposition. But I think having different types of players is something that we lack at Arsenal. Everyone's very samey. Very samey. Fabio Vieira doesn't offer anything different to Odegaard. Havertz doesn't offer much difference to Jesus. When you look at Trossard and Martinelli, similar. I still think Trossard is better. Similar players. Similar. You know what I mean? It's just very samey at Arsenal. It's like no one really offers that much, anything that different. It's very like for like swaps. And I think that we need more players that are going to offer something different. Players that, we can cross the ball into. I know we can do that with Havertz, but he's not an amazing header of the ball. He's somebody that has the ability to win a header and maybe score 1 or 2 headers. He's not amazing though. He's not guaranteed. He cross the ball to Havertz, he's scoring every single time. He does offer something a little bit different, but he's still not of the level that I like. I still don't think he's good enough. And Osimhen offers that something different. When we get unstuck against certain teams, we need something different. When we got unstuck against Bayern Munich, we need somebody that offers something different. And I think Osimhen does offer something different. The problem is, it's not that he offers something different in terms of the strikers that Arteta normally goes for. Strikers that are very good on the ball and like to, bring the wingers into the game. It's not. I just don't think he's good enough. From what I've seen of him, I don't think he's as good as people are hyping him up to be. I think he's flavour of the month. And I think every transfer window, there's always a flavour of the month, whether it's Mudryk, whether it's Awar, whether it was Draxler once upon a time for Arsenal, whether it was Higuain, whether it was whatever. Like, there's always a flavour of the month of a player that gets overgassed and that is said to be amazing and we must go get him. And I just think that Napoli are just, listen, they're entitled to do what they got to do. Like the Portuguese league, they're not the richest, they're not the poorest, but they make a hell of a lot of money through player sales. Does it say something about PSG, their interest in Osimhen cooling down? I mean, they were interested in Osimhen. Mbappe's now gone. They need a striker, but they're not going for Osimhen. What does that say? I don't know. It just goes to show maybe he's not as great as the hype around him. A lot of Nigerians I've asked or seen in the chat when I go live are not that impressed by Osimhen. So listen, family, I don't really want, I don't want Osimhen. I don't think this guy is as good as people say he is. And we don't need, the main thing we need is somebody that they're in front of goal, they bury their chance. That is what we need. Everything else is irrelevant. Everything else is just talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need a player that's got a great, is amazing at link up play. I don't need all of that. I just need someone that's going to score goals. And I don't think this guy is the guy. But listen, I'm more than happy to be proven wrong. Just because I don't want a player doesn't mean that my mind can't change. If Osimhen obviously came to Arsenal, I wouldn't be happy. If he proves me wrong, I'll be the first one to put my hands up and say, do you know what? I didn't believe Osimhen would be good enough at Arsenal. But look at him now. He's actually bagging goals. He's doing what, he's given us 20 plus goals a season. It's exactly what I wanted. Fair enough. I didn't think the player was good enough. I thought he was overhyped. Fair enough. He's performing. So just because I have an opinion on a player doesn't mean that my opinion can't change. If the player shows me something different, but I'm very convinced that this player is not good enough. Like, I feel like this guy is just a kick and run merchant. And I don't even think he's that great in front of goal, like I said. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below, family. Let me know what you guys think. Arsenal going in £90 million for Osimhen. Do you think it will be accepted? Do you think it'll be rejected? De Laurentiis has a history of being hard to negotiate with. He doesn't just let. I remember it was Koulibaly. For years, people wanted Koulibaly. He didn't let him go on the cheap. He didn't let him go for peanuts. So listen, I expect him to have the same energy when it comes to Osimhen. He's a hard chairman to deal with. He's not somebody that's just going to give in, and because he knows he can get maximum money for his players. So listen, it is what it is. Hopefully, it's not from Arsenal. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit the bell notification, and after all of that, bro, big up familia, love.